Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends series. This is the Build-A-Figure of Dormammu. This is Mystic Rival's Enchantress. Spot picked up the entire line of figures. Of course, we are going to be looking at them in the next series of reviews from the folks over at Entertainment Earth. I'll put the link down below if you guys are interested in picking these up for yourself. Again, these are the Build-A-Figures for Dormammu. It has the Mystic Rivals down below. Not featuring, of course, Enchantress, though the name is on the back of the package. Enchantress featured both on either side of the package there. Well, actually not on either side. The other side is allocated there for Nico Mindru. These women use their mystical powers for very different reasons. One for good, the other for evil. I think Nico actually turned out quite good. I'm looking forward to getting that one out of the packaging. But if you want to collect all 8 figures, you can get yourself this. Now, to be fair, though, Carl Mordu actually comes with the heads that Dormammu is going to hold in his hand. So technically, I suppose he's not really necessary unless you want to have those heads floating in his hands. To check out more also from the folks over at Marvel, www.marvel.com. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up, but then we're going to start our reviews with the Build-A-Figure of Dormammu as we have a look at Marvel's Enchantress. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Being that this is also the very first figure that we're going to be looking at, wanted to start the review with obviously the torso. That seems to always be a go-to for me. Get the torso, then add the limbs, add the head, the legs. Bingo bango. In this case, you would have Dormammu. Don't have really much in the meantime. Really all you have at the present time is the torso of Dormammu. Still, of course, need a lot more going. But coloring-wise, I do have to point out, I do like the purple that they've used for him. It's a very dark metallic purple, contrasted nicely in the cranberry, metallic cranberry that they've added there as well. The cranberry reads a little on the sloppy side, like it's been heavily gooped over top of the plastic, but points really should be made. I like this metallic purple plastic that the torso has been cast in. We'll put that to the side. There's not really much. Oh, she almost fell. Not really much to be said for him just yet. We'll put him right there. All right, so let's have a look at Enchantress. Actually, you know what? This is a good figure also to start with because if you ask me, really, it's one of the stronger figures from this wave. I quite like the head sculpt. She comes with a couple of accessories. Been there, done that, probably is what you're experiencing at the present time. These have been included with not only the Scarlet Witch, but also a previous release Doctor Strange. I think the Doctor Strange that came with the Hulkbuster Iron Man. We've seen this before, but again, really any spell creating characters, I'm assuming that really this is a go-to standby to have these included. You get 2 of them. They're done in a nice neon green plastic. Even if, again, a sense of deja vu is overwhelming you right now, at least it can be said that Enchantress at least comes with something. You can go ahead and clip them onto her hand. Now she has two clips, or I should say the construct have 2 clips, a smaller clip and a wider clip. I will say this though, having seen these before, these clips are prone to breaking. I actually had one that broke on Scarlet Witch's, which I think was like a purplish pink color. Presumably the larger one is more catered to the men's wrist, the smaller one for the women. But I struggle so much to get that on the smaller wrists that a lot of times I end up breaking it, sadly. So we'll just go ahead and take these off. Just like that. We'll put those also to the side. There's a lot of things that I like about this character, this figure, I should say. The coloring is being one of them. The face sculpt being the other. Let's look at the face sculpt first, and then we'll kind of work our way down. You know, looking at the character, or looking at the figure, it, to me, reminds me of Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff from, of course, Battlestar Galactica. I believe she played Starbuck. Katie Sackhoff. It does look kind of like her. Slightly darker tan also in the complexion of her. So at least her skin tone doesn't look like she's dead. Sometimes they use a lighter skin tone and it makes the characters look so sickly. Instead, they've given her a nice rosy complexion, so I do like that. But the face sculpt is quite good. She has almost a slight cockiness to her, and I like how they've curled up the one corner of her mouth. I mean, of course, if they had just given her the normal corner like this side, I think it would have just been as good, but it gives it just a little extra personality. She's also sculpted with a much wider mouth as some of the other figures that are released from, female standpoints. The hair sculpt is sculpted quite nicely as well, with a darker orange wash that's been added to these strands there of the hair. Then as we move down, oh, actually, let's not move down just yet. Also like the little green eyeshadow they've added to her eyes, and of course the little crest collar. I mean, I guess really for a sculptor's dream come true, this is a perfect figure if you actually wanted to make a She-Ra. Don't laugh, you could probably make this into a pretty decent She-Ra. Anyways, let's move down. So, of course, she's got the green bustier top, which carries over into her skirt. The skirt, unfortunately, is a loose piece. I suppose it does have to be loose to accommodate some sort of additional leg articulation, so when you move the legs, the skirt doesn't impede that. So I can get away with, I can accept that. The coloring primarily is that dark green that goes from the crest down to the bustier and the lower skirt area. And then from there, it goes a little zany while giving us this lime green metallic coloring on the sleeves, as well as these rings that run all the way down her legs. She's got high heels, so again, she's a little problematic to stand, and one of the reasons why I really was surprised I could even get her stand for most of the review. Luckily, she does have peg holes in the undersides of her feet. A display stand certainly would be crucial, I think, for displaying her. I kind of wish that they would still bring these out with display stands, but I digress. When it comes to her posability, Enchantress's head does rotate. You are probably thinking, does her hair impede some of it? Surprisingly, no, not really. You can still move the hair move the head quite easily. The hair doesn't seem restricting it at all. Shoulders hinge out. Of course, full rotation. If you've collected Marvel Legends, this is all regular run-of-the-mill stuff. She does have a bend in the elbow, which rotates the forearm, which also has a rotation on the wrist at the very end of the forearm. She has an upper torso ball joint. Doesn't appear to have a waist swivel. Of course, not many of the female characters, as you can hopefully see underneath the skirt there, they don't have any sort of waist swivel, but a lot of the posability resides in the ball joint. Ball joint legs, top swivel cut on the thigh, allowing full rotation there, not that you would really need to. Double hinge knees, and finally a hinge in said foot. Personally speaking, I think this was a great figure to start with. Not only do we get the Dormammu torso, but also I think this is an exceptional figure. Probably, unless obviously we still have to see the other figures in this set, but could potentially be the front runner of my favorite figure from this wave. Today's Toy Spot, and we were, again, looking the very first figure for our continued series as we run through the entire lineup for the Dormammu Build-A-Figure wave. And we were starting this review with Marvel's Enchantress. Or Enchantress if you know her very well. Certainly stay tuned, guys. Like I said, Spot's going to have a look at the other figures from this wave as we build our finished Dormammu. Stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.